but seriously, these switch stations were the coolest thing ever. I said we had a car. We would take people on like a field trip. Like people would say, can I see the switch station? We didn't have any reason to go, but we'd like to get them in the car and we'd switch batteries and everybody would get out and they had this glass partition and you would like look in and in came the robots. It was really, really, really cool. We were never planning on buying an electric car. I mean, yes, we liked the idea of electric cars, but it was never our idea to go out and buy a car from Better Place. But what happened was, it was the summer of 2012. We were looking for something to do as a family. We'd been to the beach and we'd been to the movies and we'd been to the zoo. We had 3 kids, and literally we said, what else are we going to do? How about we go to the Better Place Visitor Center in Piglilot, which is near Herzliya, and they have this cool movie with a hologram. Nobody's seen a hologram before, and they had a test drive. You can drive an electric car. So we piled the kids into our old Toyota Corolla, the one we bought in 1995 when we made Aliyah, and we went off and we got in the car and we drove it, and we had like 3 adult drivers and we drove it, and what does it say there? It says we fell in love. We didn't expect to, but oh my God, the power. And it's so powerful, and it's quiet, and it's supposedly inexpensive, and it's you just drive it. If anyone's ever driven an electric car, and I know not a lot of people in Israel have, but if you ever have, it's like you don't ever want to drive anything again. It's amazing. And 2 weeks later, we put down our money. All right, transferred it was like a lot of money. We transferred our money. Okay, now the end of the story. The company's out of business. So. A week before we were supposed to get our car, the company fired the CEO, Shai Agassi. That was the guy that we saw in the video there who said, it was going to make the world a better place. And we thought, uh-oh, this is not supposed to happen. Like, this amazing company that raised all this money is going to be like this big deal. And they just fired the CEO. And I called up the salesperson. I said, can we return the car? And no, it's already here. It's got the decals on. We got the license plate. And we thought, all right, fine. We'll take a chance. And 9 months later, the company went out of business. Now, all right, what I was in the very first slide, I have all these credits of all these companies, websites that I write for, and publications. I do a lot of research. If I'm going to go on a trip to Europe or somewhere on a vacation, I'm going to look at every possible destination, every hotel, every flight, every attraction. I'm going to spend more time researching it than I am actually on the trip. The same thing with like a hard drive. If it's like a $69 hard drive, I'll spend $300 of my time researching which one to buy. For this car, I didn't do my research. In the venture capital world, we say I didn't do my due diligence. How could this happen? How could I have not seen this happening? I'm a journalist. This is what I do. And so I started to ask people, and I started interviewing people, and before you know it, I'd interviewed 80 people, in the company, investors and drivers and former executives. I spent 3.5 years researching the book, and I think I finally found, what happened. But this book is my due diligence, and that was my fuck up. And that's a picture of us, with getting our car. All right. Now, I do want to just tell you a little bit about what went wrong, okay? The fuck up of the company, Better Place. And I'm not going to give you all the details because I only have a few minutes, and because I do want you to buy the book, which is available on Amazon, or at the end, there is a link to my website, and I will sell it to you right here in Jerusalem. I've got copies. Not tonight. No, the rules say I can't do it tonight, but call me. Anyway, but what went wrong with the company? I'll give you a few ideas, but everybody, we're Israeli, right? So you got, 2 Israelis, 3 ideas, right? 3 opinions on what happened. It's like was a national pastime in this country when the company went out of business. What caused Better Place to go out of business? It was the fault of Renault, which made the car. No, it was the fault of Shai Agassi, the CEO. No, right there in the middle, it was the fault of Idan Ofer, the billionaire, who funded the beginning of the company, put in, about $300 million before it was all done. Or maybe it was the state of Israel, which didn't do enough. And I'm gonna kind of give away the ending, but then you can buy the book and read the middle. But the ending basically is like this: when you build a business, you build a business plan, and in that business plan, you have to have assumptions about what you expect is going to happen, how much will the car cost? What will the parts cost for? What will people be willing to pay? Expectations and assumptions. And then as the business plan goes on, you change, the assumptions and you change the plan. In the case of Better Place, a lot of things changed. Some were in their control, some were out of their control. And the question that I'm going to leave you with, I'm not done yet, but the question I'm going to leave you at the end of this presentation is, did Better Place do the right thing by either staying the course or pivoting? Those are the questions you ask in business. Stay the course or pivot when confronted with many, many changes happening. So right now I'm going to show you really quickly in the time we have a few of the examples of changes that hit the company. All right. The company was talking all the time, the CEO, Shai Agassi, was talking all the time about the car would be free or it would be low priced. If you were reading the newspapers in the years 2008 to 2013 or 2011 before they announced the price, it was always going to be low price. But there's the price, right? $35,000. That was what it actually cost, 132,000 shekels at the time. That's what we paid. That's not free. And people were pissed. And people said, the company's greedy, the company doesn't care about us, they're not really in for it for the environment or for getting the world off oil. They just want to make money. And that was a problem. That was an assumption that changed because the cost from Renault was higher and the profit margin was lower, and they had to set up a separate company called Better Place Motors, all kinds of things. Now, what caused the cost to go so high so that they had to charge so much? Well, those switch stations, those great switch stations that we saw at the beginning, they were supposed to cost $500,000 each. But what's the number there? So if you can read it, it's $3 million a station. Multiply that by 42 stations in Israel, by 18 stations in Denmark. Now add in $15,000 batteries for each station. You've got to have 10 batteries per station. Oops. You get to a point where by the time the company was going under, they were spending $1 million a day. That was the burn rate, $1 million a day. Let me just tell you something. At the beginning of January 2012, the company raised $200 million. It was their Series C round, the third round. Let's do some math here. $200 million, $1 million a day. How long will the money last? Any math majors? 200 days. The company was out of money 200 days later. They got an emergency injection of $100 million in October, right after Shai Agassi was fired. So that was a problem. And the last slide I'm going to show you, because I know I'm out of time already, I want to just show you these two pictures. These are two cars here. There's a white one and a blue one. One of them is an electric Fluence from Renault, and one of them is a gasoline-powered Fluence. Both of them were sold at the same time. You can still see them on the road. Can you tell the difference? No, you can't. Well, the one on the right, it has a little circle there for the plug, right? Well, yes, because you had the car. Yours was probably even blue, right? Yes, so was ours. But you really couldn't tell. Now, remember the first time you saw a Prius? Did it look like anything else? Does a Tesla look like anything else? No. Now, this is not, an assumption necessarily that changed, but it was a problem. Now, there are lots more reasons, and I have no more time to talk. So I'm going to leave you with one last video. If you'll indulge me for one 35-second video. Will you do that for me? Thank you. This last, except that the videos don't work. Okay, well, we're going to try it anyway.
She's not for everyone. Only for people who won't accept things as they are. She's not everyone's kind of thing. Just for those who are fed up with unstable gas prices. Not everyone's going to love her. Only the ones who no longer want to poison the air that we breathe. She's definitely not going to be love at first sight. Except for those who want great performance without the fuss. She's not for everyone. Only for those who believe they have the right to make the world a better place.
המשפחתית החשמלית של Better Place, רנו פלואנס ZD, כבר כאן, בפרטים כוכבית 5755, Better Place.
Okay, the reason I show that to you, and then I'm done, we have questions? Yeah, okay. The reason I want to show you that is when you're making, a video about, selling a car that's going to be reasonably priced for everybody, whatever, did that did that sound like a car for everybody? It sounded like a car for like the elites, or for the few. I don't know. I heard that one and I thought, okay, price is too high. Car's not for me. It doesn't look cool. It's like, and I don't know why I bought the car. I really don't. Come back to my fuck up. I don't know why I did it. The good news is, okay, sorry, one more. Last one. I don't have the car anymore. Renault bought it back. End of story. They paid us half of what we paid for it. We had to sue them for it, but it does have a happy ending. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Didn't offer me an explanation for me getting stuck. We're good. Looking back on just how everything was so appealing, you just said that you don't even know why you bought it. Do you foresee in your future other sort of opportunities like these? Things in Israel, the startup nation, things that are so shiny but then don't amount to anything that you want to warn us about? Total?
I don't actually have anything. I've never had that question asked before, so thank you. I don't have anything to warn you against. I'm very excited about a lot of the things that are coming out. What I'm hoping for, actually, is that there are a couple of companies in Israel that I'm very excited about that haven't been moving forward the way I want them to. So if anybody knows anyone there, please let me know, because I really want to talk to them. But the companies are StoreDot. Mazel tov. The companies are StoreDot and Finergy. Both of them make next generation batteries that will, and this will answer your question, that will get your car either 1,000 kilometers on a charge or charge up the car in 5 minutes. Unlike you won't need a switch station. You'll just be able to plug it in 5 minutes later. You'll be able to move on. Those, I don't know if they're going to work. So I might say avoid those, but I'm really hopeful they will work, because if they will, we will see more electric cars back in Israel. If they or some other technology does not work, meaning that cars still need to only go a few hundred kilometers before they need to be powered up, and it still takes 30 to 40 minutes to power it up, then we won't see electric cars in this country, and they won't even take off in America. So cross your fingers that it's not a fuck up, but it's a great future.
Thank you. There's one question from the crowd.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Is there, in retrospect, any consensus about what ought to have been done from a business perspective after Agassi was fired? In other words, when it was like almost too late?
Right. So obviously, there's lots of different directions the company could have gone. When Agassi was fired, the CEO who replaced him was the head of Better Places Australian division, a guy named Evan Thornley, and he presented a very detailed plan. I have a copy of it, and basically his plan was to move the center of operations of Better Place to the Netherlands, to Europe. He wasn't going to shut down Israel, although he probably would have in the end, because it wasn't profitable. But he would have moved things somehow to Europe. Another idea, and then he was fired because they didn't like that idea. The chairman of the board didn't like that idea. So he was fired, and the new guy said, we're going to move everything to China. Either way, any way we looked at it, we would have gotten screwed. But that would have been, I think, the pivot. And that's not even in the book, so that's a bonus.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We can't cover the other half of the car.
I got a mug for my car.